Welcome to Need a Little Chat.
Okay, topic number 1. Navigating the new AHPRA and TGA guidelines. Go, Candy, take it away.
Okay, when I first found out about the new guidelines, I was not happy. I don't think any of us are happy about it. I think it is probably one of the harsher guidelines in the health field right now. So basically what the guidelines are. What are the guidelines? Go on, Carla.
A very long PDF. But I think the guidelines that cosmetic nurses and doctors are finding it hard to adapt to are the advertising guidelines and the advertising of Scheduled 4 medications. So as a business owner, we rely heavily on advertisement to get patients. And it is the only area that you cannot advertise your business, which makes it really tricky. So,
Yes.
however, we do need to remember that if we don't follow the guidelines, it's your registration on the line.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the guidelines have been a big struggle for most practitioners because they are pretty detrimental to a lot of the businesses, especially the ones that are just popping up now. So starting a new business in the cosmetic field now is pretty much...
It's difficult to not be able to post your work and show off your work. But I think the main thing to get your business out there is word of mouth, because it is a rule that you should not post too much. And if anyone from AHPRA is listening right now, can you please elaborate on what too much is?
I think a lot of practitioners are they're going one way or the other.
Yeah.
So I see some practitioners posting before and afters and then some posting none, and they've fully removed all their before and afters. And that's confusing me.
Yeah, and it is confusing because AHPRA do state that you can post before and afters as long as you explain what you've done and put your registration number in there. But TGA states that you cannot post before and afters if you've used a scheduled medication for a difference. They counteract each other, but you need to follow both. So blatantly, you cannot post before and afters if you've used scheduled 4 medications to enhance the patient.
Yeah. And she would know. She's a trainer. So this is something they would teach her.
Question I have is, you're a cosmetic nurse, experienced, non-experienced, and you're working for a clinic who is non-compliant and is posting before and afters. What would you do?
That's such a hard question. That's a terrible question because I wouldn't know what to do. I think it's hard because at the end of the day, I'm working for that company, but it's the company's responsibility to be able to adhere to the guidelines.
But it's your registration.
That's
They've
true.
put your name on the work.
I would request that they don't post my before and afters, that's for sure. If they're especially putting my name on the work, I don't want myself to get in trouble or for other people to think that it's okay to break the rules. So I completely understand that. And I think it's something that maybe people should be educating their bosses with, which probably isn't going to be perceived well because you're an employee, and most times the boss or like the employer sort of want you to stay in your own lane. But yeah, it's a hard situation, and I feel so bad for anyone going through that. What do you think you'd do? I know you have an answer for this.
I think I know how hard I worked for my registration. Blood, sweat, tears, living through poverty on those unpaid weeks of placement.
That was awful.
Nah, not about it. I can't work for someone whose values don't align with mine. And posting before and afters just shows that you think you're better than your colleagues and you're better than the rules, and I don't like big egos, so I would be looking for another job.
That's for sure. It's sometimes hard because some people don't have a choice. Like if they are getting good pay and there's no other jobs out there, we understand. Like it's hard to leave something, especially when majority of the practitioners don't agree with the rules.
Correct. Job them in. I think the fines start from 60K. They do.
That is cold, but true.
Drop
And
them
I
in.
don't even think
TGA will
they
deal
need
with
to dob them in. I think a lot of people are actually getting warnings already. Like it's happening, and I've heard a few clinics have.
AHPRA have 10 clinics that are on their radar. So pray you're not working for one of those 10 clinics.
Yeah, I think it's such a hard thing. What do we actually feel about how do we feel about the guidelines?
They're good and bad. It's hard to advertise your business, I understand that, but bringing in 2 years time working as a nurse before becoming an injector, I 100% agree with.
100%.
And as a clinical trainer, when we get through the nurses that have have only done a grad year who can't think critically, have no clinical skills, can't even speak to a patient. It really shows a difference in someone that's worked in the hospital and someone that has just trained to be a nurse, to be a cosmetic nurse. And while on that topic, we don't know where our industry is going at the moment. It's changing every day. Maybe in 5 years' time, we won't be allowed to inject as nurses. So if you are only doing nursing to be a cosmetic nurse, think again, because maybe in 5 years, you won't be able to use that.
100%.
Yeah, be in this area.
I think that's the biggest thing. I think back in the day, especially when we got into it, nurses went into nursing to nurse. I actually, when I first wanted to become a cosmetic nurse, I went to my nurse unit manager, and I told her that I was leaving ward nursing to become a cosmetic nurse, and
she laughed at me.
Yeah. She's like, "You're going to be back in 3 months."
Yeah.
It's not a thing nurses do and like and enjoy. Most nurses that leave the ward come back because cosmetics is not as it's laid up to be.
When I was in nursing school, my brother told me to go be a cosmetic nurse because his partner went to Alex Pike, something like that, all about Alex Pike. And I laughed in his face and said, "That's not a real nurse." And it's embarrassing that they're called nurses. And here I am,
and
training nurses to be cosmetic nurses.
Wow, how the tables have turned.
Yes, but I do love nursing, and I would go back to the wards in a heartbeat if the hours were different and the pay reflected what we did.
The shift work was probably my biggest thing, and then COVID. I could not deal with the PPE. Oh my goodness. I'm still fixing
PPE,
my hollowness
short
in
staff,
my cheeks.
18-hour shifts, start on a PM, go home at 7 a.m.
Yeah. I think now, though, majority of the nurses I speak to at the hospitals that are studying, that are on their placements, just want to do it for cosmetics.
Yeah.
And I look at them and I'm like, it's great, you have a passion, but you have no ability to actually be a cosmetic nurse because you don't have the fundamentals behind it. You need to have that critical experience.
Yeah.
It's not fun. Trust me. We go into work and we go out, we finish work, and the first thing, it's anxiety. I can't.
So next topic, how to get out of the industry.
No. We love our job.
Love our jobs. Anyways, that is literally just covering the surface. We could go on for hours about the AHPRA guidelines. So I think the biggest take-home message is stay compliant. Remember, your registration is on the line. And I know it's annoying that people don't follow the rules, but don't worry about what others are doing. Just focus on you.
And I completely agree. And I think also just be aware that it's not easy becoming a cosmetic nurse. You have so many rules you need to follow, and you need to be so careful with getting into this industry because it's not a glamorized industry. It shouldn't be, at least. Just be careful.
And people still vomit when they're in the chair, so it's not as pretty as you think.
Trust me, we've seen a lot.